Go.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Tuesday night BWELL info session. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Tully, and so I'll be taking the session. It should run for about half an hour, and what we want to do tonight is just basically run you through the ins and outs of the Isagenix nutritional cleansing system. So, it's something that I've been using for over 5 years now, so I'll share my story in a second. And then we'll just go through the basics of the products, and then you'll hear a few stories of what the system can do for people. So by the end of it, you'll get a good understanding of, whether this is or isn't something for you. So no obligation, just information. Soak it all up. If you've got any questions as you go, just fire them away in the chat box, and we'll get to them at the end. So, like I said, my name's Tully. And before Isagenix came into my life, I was actually pretty healthy. So I was working as a physio in private practice, working out 4 to 5 times a week, eating pretty healthy. I was still struggling a little bit energy-wise. Like I was relying on coffee to get through the day, but so is everybody else. So I just thought that was normal. I wasn't sleeping that well. Again, not too much of an issue. And the other thing I was noticing, I was working pretty hard in the gym and not seeing amazing results. So that being said, though, I wasn't actually looking for a solution. Like I was pretty happy with how I was in my health. But what I was doing was I was always on the lookout for tools and for things that could help my patients, the people that I was working with, in a more holistic manner. So I always had one eye out for those kinds of things. And then Rory came to me, who's good mate of mine. I'll just get everybody to mute their lines. Rory, who's also a physio, you'll hear his story later tonight. He came to me with the Isagenix system. He'd used it. Looked pretty good and checked out. And to be honest, I just trusted him. I know he did a lot of research into it. And he was well versed in the holistic health field. So I trusted him, and I gave it a go, not expecting a lot, because like I said, I was already pretty healthy, but I mainly did it because I wasn't going to recommend anything to people that I hadn't tried myself. So jumped on the system, and then sure enough, 2 weeks into it, I remember it very clearly. I woke up after my second cleanse day, and I didn't have this brain fog that I'd had just for years without realizing. I just thought that's how you felt when you woke up, until you had got your first coffee into you. And that wasn't there. I had this clarity that I hadn't had in a very long time. I went from relying on 2 coffees a day to none. I just had a spring in my step, and I just started to feel healthy. I started to pull up after workouts better. I started sleeping through the night. And that's when it all kind of dropped for me. It was like, if whatever this system is can help me, somebody who's already pretty healthy, get that extra 10 or 20%. Imagine what it can do for all these people that I see day in, day out that are struggling carrying extra weight, struggling with energy, struggling with gut health, all this stuff. So I got really excited and started to share it with people. People started noticing the results in me, and started to share it with people. And then Isagenix uses a network marketing business model. So basically word of mouth marketing. So I didn't know much about that at the time. I just started setting people up and helping people get started and using the products. And then I started to notice that I was getting paid, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I looked into that side of things, and that turned out to be just as beneficial as the products themselves. The company, which we'll hear about in a second, just full of integrity. And pretty much that was 5 years ago, and I've been sharing this system with people ever since. And that's why we're still here every Tuesday, just because of the results that it gets with people, and it's impacting lives still to this day. And I've gone on to impact directly and indirectly over 5,000 people. So it would have taken me a lot longer than 5 years to do that as a physio, working one-on-one with people. So that's why I love it, and that's my experience with it. But now we'll get in and we'll hear a little bit about what it actually is and how it works. And then you'll hear some stories from some people that have been getting just phenomenal results with it. So here we go. So before we talk about the products, let's just talk about health for a second. So does any of this sound familiar for you? And I also want to just pose the question, anybody important in your life, do they complain of these things? So low energy levels, mood swings, struggling to lose weight, that sticky 5 kilos, poor digestion, low libido or lack of drive, that might not be something that's spoken about often, but is that an issue? Regular headaches is a big one. Sugar cravings, or any cravings for that matter. Regular feelings of anxiousness, all of these things, because they're so common in society these days, we just think that it's normal. Just like I thought it was normal to rely on 2 coffees a day. It's not normal. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. And actually, these are all signs and symptoms of our body being out of balance. So there are 3 main issues that affect our health and result in those things that we saw before. The first one is poor nutrition, so soil depletion. So in a nutshell, the topsoil that we're using to grow our food does not have the same nutrition and nutrient value, which is where our fruits and vegetables get our nutrition, is from the soil. That has been eroded over time. So 95% of the building blocks that we need to function on a day-to-day basis optimally, we get that from our food. And if our food's lacking it, then we're lacking it. So to achieve the whole clean eating exercise thing, like, I get it, and in theory, it's like an awesome idea, but health professionals have been recommending clean eating and exercise for about 30 years, and Australia's obesity problem is just getting worse. So clean eating and exercise and just recommending that to people is not the answer, because if it was, it would be working. So the second thing that gets talked about a lot, but not many solutions are specifically provided for it from a nutritional standpoint, is stress and cortisol. So if you Google effects of too much cortisol, pretty much most of that previous slide will come up. So bad things happen when there's too much cortisol around. It affects our mood, it affects our immune system, it affects the fat we store. When we've got high cortisol, we store more fat, especially around our abdomen. So that has a huge impact on our health. And the third thing is xenoestrogens, or toxins. And this is basically environmental estrogens. So from the water, from processed foods, herbicides and pesticides, just in the air, we're consuming and taking on board these things at a micro level over time that build up, and they act as estrogens in our body, which sends our hormonal stuff out of whack. So again, before I looked into the research and before I started using this system, I honestly thought like toxins was something that health fanatics almost like made up so they could give you a solution for. Like, I didn't realize the impact this had on our health. So that's something that if you want optimal well-being, and well-being for you might be losing that weight, it might be optimal performance in whatever sport you're doing, but if you want your human body to function at its best, these are things that do need to be addressed. And so just talking about the Isagenix solution, before I talk about the products, I just want to talk about the man behind the product. So Isagenix was founded 16 years ago. So 2002, John Anderson was the guy that did it. And I want to make this very clear. This is not a weight loss system. Will it help people lose weight? Sure. If they've got weight to lose, you'll probably lose that weight. But this system was designed as a foundation for wellness. So its primary aim is actually to bring the body back into balance. So those 3 things we spoke about before, knock the body out of balance. The primary focus of the Isagenix system is to bring the body back into balance. And when we do that, good stuff starts to happen. So John Anderson's a master formulator. He's formulated over 2,000 products for 600 different companies. Most formulators formulate about between 6 to 8 products in their career. So he knows about a thing or two when it comes to natural supplementation. And the thing I love about him also is he's got a family history in organic farming. So his grandfather, they've been in farming for a few generations. So he knows the soil, he understands food, he understands farming from a root level, which is important to know. So the 3 main pillars, as you can see there, the first one, nutrition saturation. So this is basically to address point number 1, that soil depletion. So we want to saturate the body with all the nutrition it needs, all the building blocks it needs so it can function optimally. The second, help the body deal with stress. And the third, help the body cleanse out impurities. So we're going to go and have a look at how the Isagenix system helps with those things. So the first thing, nutrition saturation. So there's 3 main pillars to the system that we'll talk about. There are a number of there's a huge range of products in the system. Tonight we're going to talk about the 3 main pillars. So the first being the isolene shake. So I've got here the dairy-free option. There also is an option that has undenatured whey protein as well. So when the thought of using a shake, this is the biggest objection I get from most people when I'm talking about that. Oh, I don't really want to do one of those shake things, or, oh, really shakes? Am I going to be hungry? Like it's always the biggest objection. And I get it, because before I started, I was trying to put on weight. So the thought of replacing a meal with a shake to me sounded ludicrous. But I just trusted the process. So, and then I've come to learn what's actually in the shakes and why it's actually just the most complete meal that you can give to your body. So, it's full of vitamins and trace minerals, but the big thing to note, it's not a protein shake. It's a full meal replacement. So it's got low GI carbohydrates, really good quality protein, and good quality healthy fats. So it's actually a complete meal. It's also a really good source of fiber. It's got live enzymes, so it's a live food while you're consuming it, which is awesome because it helps with digestion. It's also got pre and probiotics to help with gut health as well. So it's like this superfood smoothie on crack, and it only costs about $4.50 and it tastes delicious. And it's just makes optimal health so easy, because if you should be eating like minimum 3 meals a day. If you're doing a lot of exercise, you're eating more than that. So to prep 3 to 4 healthy meals a day takes a lot of time. And if you've got all day to spend in the kitchen, I don't, but if you do, then hey, good luck. But what this does is you're knocking out 1 to 2 of those every day. So you're getting quality nutrition. Takes about 30 seconds to make. If you want to get fancy and make a smoothie bowl, it might take you 2.5 minutes. But you've got that there every day, and very easy to travel with as well. So that's the shake. And the other part of the nutrition saturation is the complete essentials with isogenesis. So this is the supplementation side of things. So this is really good quality multivitamin, and then a couple of other supplements and an omega supplement. And that basically just fills in the building blocks. So from, again, that optimal nutrition standpoint, this is really important. So I notice when I don't have these, and I eat a very healthy diet as well. So this isn't to replace healthy eating. This isn't like a quick fix. This is to supplement healthy eating. And it's just filling in those gaps that we're just not getting anymore. Point number 2, help the body handle stress. So this is a big one, and this is a big reason, and you're going to hear some stories tonight, and this is a big part of why they've had such profound results. There aren't any other systems I've found that help the body handle stress like this does. So, and again, it just goes back to John Anderson knowing so much about the human body, but the system is full of these things called adaptogens. So they're basically plant extracts that help the body deal with stress. So they're things that we put into our body, little herbal tonics from plant-based, that physically help our body adapt to stress. So that could be physical stress from exercise and training, mental stress, or emotional stress, because it doesn't matter if you're putting good nutrition in, but you're putting it into a stressed system, it's not going to be digested properly and it's not going to be assimilated properly. So Dionix Supreme, and I've just gone about 10 days without this because I messed up my monthly auto ship. I've gone about 10 days without this, and I know Tan's shaking her head like, how have you been surviving? Like, can you imagine a month without this, Tanya? Like, yuck. It's just such a great product. For me, it helps with energy, it helps with sleep, and you just feel better. You feel calmer, you handle stress better. It's just amazing. And it comes in a herbal tonic that doesn't taste disgusting as well, which is handy, because if you've ever been to a naturopath, a lot of the stuff they can give you can taste pretty nasty sometimes. And the adaptogens are throughout a bunch of different products. So also in the isogenesis, which we spoke about before, but also in the E+. So this is a plant-based caffeine boost. And the caffeine's from green tea and yerba mate, organically sourced, but it's full of adaptogens. So people might use it as a pre-workout. I include this just for general well-being. So yes, it will give you a bit of energy and a pick-me-up, but it's also full of those adaptogens. So if you've got a really stressful day, or you might have a really stressful event coming up where you need to be energized, but coffee gives you the jitters and that sort of thing, this is a great substitute for that. And awesome as a pre-workout, because you get that sustained high, and because it's got those adaptogens, you don't get the crash after it like you would with a coffee. And then the last of the 3 pillars is to support the body's natural detoxification process. So again, read their natural detoxification process. So our body is naturally detoxifying Our liver and kidneys are doing their things. They're just struggling to keep up. They're being overloaded. So what the Cleanse for Life does is actually assists the metabolic pathways that rid toxins from our body. So it's basically just giving our system a helping hand. So you combine using this product with intermittent fasting, which has its own benefits that are just, and I'm sure you've all heard of intermittent fasting by now. It's becoming extremely popular. And so what this does though, it's nutritionally supported fasting. So a lot of people just water fast. They'll just cut out food, just drink water, and that's what they'll do. And that has some great benefits. It's a lot harder when you're not supporting your body with something like the Cleanse for Life, because it's got antioxidants, it's got those adaptogens in it, and just herbs and botanicals that support that process and support you, because detoxification can actually put a stress on the body. So to support your body through that process makes it much more enjoyable and much more maintainable. If you know that fasting for 36 hours is good for you, but you're doing it with water and you feel like crap and you have to lose a day every week, do you think you're going to actually do that long term? Probably not. But if you can support your body through it so the process is actually relatively enjoyable, do you think you're going to be able to maintain that? Probably, which means you'll be able to maintain your results. So speaking of results, we're going to hear from a few people who have been using the system and have got incredible results. And what I love about this system is it's not to help women lose weight or to help men gain muscle or help old people or young people. I've literally seen people from ages of 16 to 70 get results with this system, and they just use it in a different way. So that's enough chitter chatter from me, and I'm going to get Tan I'll unmute you, Tan, and I'll get you to share your story around weight management and lifestyle.
Thanks, Tull.
No worries.
Hi, guys. Obviously Tanya. Thanks for having me on tonight. Yeah, my story started probably about 3 years ago now. I was getting close to that age of 40, and I was kind of just feeling a little bit sluggish and just missing something in my everyday life. I didn't know what it was. Knew that I needed something, a bit of a boost somewhere. And, I got plenty of sleep. I was one of those people who slept a good 8 hours a night, but woke up feeling pretty crappy and feeling like I hadn't slept a wink. So I guess for me, I was tired. I was a bit sluggish. I certainly had a bit of stress in my life, and I didn't deal with that all so well. So I was introduced to the system by my gorgeous girlfriend Mandy Fancoat, and I'm so grateful that she did talk to me about it, because it's had a huge impact on my life. Like I said, 3 years on now, I've been using the products, and my results in a few areas have been amazing. I didn't go into this to lose weight, but I did lose 4 to 5 kilos on that first 30-day system that I did. I think for me, my I got was the reduction of my stress levels. So I didn't realise how stressed I was, I think, until I started taking the system, and over time came home and my family was noticing that I was actually a lot more calmer and I dealt with situations a lot better. Before that, I really struggled. I kind of got very overwhelmed, got really stressed, got really moody, and took it out on everybody, at home that I loved. But it's really interesting because until you embark on this system and this journey, you don't, and you reflect back, that's when you realise actually how stressed you were, or how tired you were, or how sluggish you were, and how you were kind of missing those key things that you get from being on. So I guess now, 3 years on, I'm happy to say I'm a much nicer person, and I deal with everyday stresses, from finances to working to, having an 18, 19-year-old son that, puts a little bit of stress on me, but I'm happy to say that I deal with it really, really well. So, like Tal said, it's definitely not a weight loss system. It's definitely a weight. It maintains your weight 3 years on, and I'm still, and I'm still where I've always been. And you know what, guys, I've fallen off the wagon a couple of times, but ease of this system is you jump back on, you do a 30-day reset, and away you go. You're feeling amazing again. Things start, working because you're fueling your body with just, the best nutrition on the planet, really. So, yeah, my advice would be just to jump on, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. And I'm certainly glad that I have this in my life because, yeah, it works on lots of different levels.
Love it. Thanks, Tan. Such an epic story. Thanks for sharing.
Most welcome.
All right. Tyza.
Hey.
How are you, mate?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'd love for you to share your story, man, just from obviously you had great weight loss results and also just from a energy perspective and performance perspective as well, to share a little bit about what ICE has done for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, so it's more about performance tonight, but do you want me to go back first or what?
Yeah, just like from where you're at when ICE came into your life and then...
Yeah, so I did lose a fair bit of weight as I've discussed before, but I was doing Ironman and all that sort of stuff, and I couldn't lose any weight, and I sat around 104 kilos, and I was racing at 104 kilos. No matter what I did, I couldn't budge, and I was taking all sorts of different things, and I still was up and down. I was yo-yoing with energy all the time, and I was, they call it an Ironman, I was bonking quite a lot as well. Like I'd be depleted quite often. And I just still couldn't get the weight, no matter, I'd try to eat less, and then I'd exercise heaps, and then I'd end up, eating a lot to try and make up for it, and just keep yo-yoing, if that makes sense. And then I met Anthea, who is a, finely tuned young athlete. Well, she's not young, or she looks young. She's 44 years old, or 43 years old. And she's been doing it for a couple of years. And as I said, I noticed she was doing something different. And she was just, outperforming everyone. And actually, she just had a really couple of outstanding performances too. She's the number one in her age group for the adventure racing.
Wow.
She just got that. And she also was a few things. And she got the number 2 woman for the whole of the state as well in the adventure racing. And she also got in the state team for water polo at 43 years of age, which is quite amazing. So she's been my inspiration, really. And from a performance perspective, I suppose the main story is water polo. I've always been a floater, and one goal a year if I'm lucky. And when I first started using ISA, straight away I couldn't believe it. I went out and got 5 goals in the first game.
That still makes me crack up. That
and as I say, moving on now, last week was a really good example. I hadn't swum hadn't done a long swim for about 6 months, and I went out and did a 2.5K swim, no problem. With the squad, kept up with the squad, and
wow.
Just that. As I say, I've lost that 14 kilos, which has helped. But the energy that I'm feeling all the time, like I've got the go button, not the stop button, as I've said before, and your body, you're just feeding yourself really good fuel instead of crap, basically, and you can really feel the difference. Like, as I say, I'm managing the kids by myself and working full time and exercising, and I've got 3 kids at home, and I've just got energy to burn all the time. It's quite amazing, really. And I've got more time than I've known what to do in that instance as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, if you've got more energy, you've got more time, and I guess you wouldn't be doing as much food prep as well.
No, you're not at all. And that's the thing on the go. And you nailed it too. Like, I know myself. 2 meals are taken care of for me, and then I'm making, and I'm on the go all day, and then I'm making one good meal for the kids at night, and I'll have a bit of that, and that's me done pretty much. So
nice.
And taking that shake on the run, around about is for me, I have 11 o'clock and then I have 4 o'clock seems to work. So 4 o'clock that's my danger time, 3 or 4 o'clock. And, and that stops me from snacking on crap. So, Yeah. Yeah.
Love
So
it.
that's my story. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing.
No
Love
worries.
it. All right. And then unfortunately, Paul couldn't be on tonight, but he shared his story with me. So I'll just share it on his behalf quickly. But basically, I think what I love about Paul's story is had a phenomenal transformation, but it's happened at the age of 53. And I see so many people that just think I start carrying extra kilos or I start slowing down energy wise, and they think it's just an age thing. And it's just not. It's a nutrition thing. And he had a phenomenal transformation. So he was in a pretty dark place mentally before he started, and also physically he was carrying extra kilos and just struggling energy wise to keep up with his son. And he got introduced to ISA through a friend, and had phenomenal results. And he's lost 6 or 7 kilos, but that's not the biggest thing. It's the energy and the clarity and the well-being of how he feels mentally now. He's got the energy to keep up with his son, and it started a cascade of better decisions and then in terms of development. And he puts that down to the products, just getting his body physically right, and then the community and the supportive community around that, just really amplifying that even more. So he's been using it for over a year now, maintain that weight loss, maintain those results, feeling better than ever. And has been able to help quite a few people with the system as well since starting. So Paul's not on here, but we'll give Paul a little fist bump. Phenomenal stuff. Cool. So it's got the stories, but Isagenix has also got the science, which is awesome. Being a health professional, that was important for me. So they've got 6 peer-reviewed studies, which is a lot. You won't find many nutrition companies that have that much research and that dedicate that much, effort and resources to third-party research. So one that I just want to touch on here is where they compared the heart healthy diet and fasting to the Isagenix system. So even though the control group had fasting as part of it, the Isagenix system still lost twice as much visceral fat. So that's that fat around your stomach, the dangerous fat. Using the Isagenix system, they lost twice as much of that, which is just huge, which in terms of a health standpoint, it's adding years to people's life by doing a 30-day reset and then maintaining. And the year-long follow-up, most of the people that did the heart healthy diet actually rebounded to where they started. And the Isagenix group actually continued to slowly lose more weight. So in terms of initial impact, much better. And then in terms of maintenance, like we've spoken about, it doesn't matter what works, it only matters what you can maintain. So that's really cool that they've got the science to back it up for all those science heads out there. And the Isagenix vision. So you've heard about the products. You've heard some stories about what the products can do, and the products work. Sometimes people don't work. Same as when I was working as a physio. It's like I would give 10 people the same exercise program and only 7 would use it, or 7 at best. But the 3 that didn't use it, did it mean that the exercise program didn't work? No, it didn't. It meant that they didn't work. So we know the products work, but what I love about the Isagenix vision is it's not just about physical health. They've got a vision to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain. And this is where, as a health professional, I had a bit of resistance to it initially because I only wanted to talk about health. And what it's opened me up to is the fact that finances, as we'll see, are the biggest thing that cause stress in people's bodies. And what did we see back at the beginning of what stress and high cortisol does? All of those list of symptoms that we spoke about at the beginning. So if we're giving people optimal nutrition, that is awesome. But if we're also able to alleviate some financial stress from people's lives, that is starting to look like complete well-being. And 81% of Australians cite either financial stress or workplace stress. So both of those two things obviously related to money as their primary cause of stress. So if we can start to alleviate that, start to get your products for free, start to earn an extra few $100s a week, it can start to really make a big difference. So somebody who's gone on to do a lot more than just earn a couple of $100 a week is Rory, the guy who introduced me to the system. So he's going to share his story about how he went from a burnt out physio to living his dream in Bali and really definitely out-earn what he could potentially have done as a physio because of the impact he's made. So, Roz, I'll get you to share your story, mate.
Easy, man. Sorry about the dogs in the background, but they just tend to go off when the moon's out over here. So hopefully it's not too loud. But yeah, thanks again. Also, Ty and Tan, I love hearing new stories. Well, I've heard yours before, Ty, but I didn't really know the energy and performance side of it. So that's awesome. And Tan, thanks. I know you got out of your comfort zone to really share tonight. So thanks for being vulnerable enough to do that. And Tully, as always, cheers, man. I just love the way you share this. But yeah, I guess for me, I started as a physio. I got a master's degree. A lot of people would say that I'm pretty smart and I know a lot about the body, but when I fell into this, I really had to put my ego aside, and the reason I did is because I started to connect the dots, and the things that I saw in this program were intermittent fasting, Ayurveda, Chinese, herbs and botanicals. I learned about John Anderson and his vision and his background, formulating 2,300 products. So all the evidence and social proof was there, and then it was up to me to finally give the program a go. And it took me about 9 months, but I had to do my due diligence and then got into it. And my health story is my health story. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail, but long story short, I'm probably the fittest I've been at 30. I went and played footy over in Jakarta on the weekend and was moving around better than when I was in my 20s playing waffle footy back in Perth. So, I think all these things just point to the fact that, ultimate well-being, and this is something that I can really share because I've just been putting a book together that goes into the foundation of self-care, and probably the biggest thing that comes out of it is something called the China study, which shows that if people have a majority plant-based diet, that they can reduce all-cause mortality. So this program is plant-based. It's got a bit of undenatured whey, so all these things are there, and peer-reviewed science and things like that. So for me, this is something so simple that we can share with anyone, and I guess that's all I started doing. I shared it with Tully, I shared it with a couple of buddies, and 5 years down the track, they've shared it with people. I didn't know Tan or Ty or any of these people 5 years ago, and because it's a word-of-mouth based company, and Isogenics has put a compensation plan on the back, which basically says, do it for yourself, number one, and then inspire other people to do it with you, and inspire them to do it for accountability. And every person you inspire, we're going to give you maybe 50 or 80 bucks. And you can use that to pay for your products. If you help 2 people in the same week, we'll double it. So you'll get like 360 bucks. So all of a sudden, I listened to that. I did it organically anyway. And the first week I paid for my products and I got the health experience in the first month. And then 5 years down the track, I've gone on to impact 35,000 people. So the disclaimer with money is sure, the compensation plan, this network marketing company is the number 1 direct selling product in Australia. Just launched into the UK. It's launched into 14 out of 88 registered countries. The guy behind it is driving this company with so much integrity and making sure that it's done right, which means we won't be the first over the line, but we'll be the last one standing, which is another reason why I'm here, because I'm partnered with a lot of companies. I've also started my own, but I've learned so much from these guys. So I guess what it means for you is, you can get to the point where you make 250 grand a year residually. I've seen mums do it, bricklayers, butchers. Everyone in this community has shown me that anyone can do it from anywhere. Mums living in their car with five kids. And these stories aren't just the things that they're an inspirational story. Go check out isomovie.com or even just Google the 288 isomoonies they've created, and you'll find some pretty freaking inspiring stories. And there'll be one that's just like yours, and it'll make you realize that you can do it too. So I guess the key message is for wherever you're at, be your best customer. Do it for yourself, health result. It's one of the best systems out there to integrate into what you're already doing. Learn how to be healthy along the way as being part of this community. Learn how to have an active lifestyle. And if you get inspired to share, whoever got you started, just have a chat with them and they'll set the person up for you, or me or Tully or anyone in the community will help you do that. And then if you find that there's a lot of flow with that and you're creating a lot of attraction because you're getting such amazing results, just keep doing what you do naturally, and maybe 5 years down the track, I've only helped maybe just over 100 people, but that's gone on to impact 35,000. So hopefully that makes you feel like it's something that you can do too. And if you just want to get your products paid for and eat for free, just do that. But Tal, I guess that's my sort of take on it tonight, man.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks, man. And just so to touch on compared to what you could have done if you'd worked just as hard as a physio, where could you have got in terms of lifestyle and income, in terms of like residual income? Because earning money is one thing, but you know a lot of people that earn a lot of money and have got no time.
Well, imagine getting like, you know, $3 to $5 grand in your bank account each week. And it might be for the work that you did 12 months ago or 2 years ago. And what that means is time freedom. What time freedom and I guess money means is the alleviation of stress. But, you know, I looked at my bank account yesterday. My bank account was empty. And the reason it's empty is because every single cent I have made, I invest into the next thing. So with the time, I'm finally able to really step into that passion, purpose, and that bigger thing that I've always wanted to do. I've been able to write a book, been able to create a platform. I've been able to travel unapologetically. I've been able to go home for my mate's 30th birthdays. I've been able to help people. I've been able to help my mum. I'm looking at helping her buy a car at the moment. And it's just like, you know, one of my cousins and my nieces in Melbourne is going through a rough patch, and I can literally sit there and just shift some resources across and get her in a new environment to help her get healthy. So what this means is so much more. And that's not, if I was still doing physio, I'd still be working 100 hours a week, trading time for money, which isn't a bad thing. But I just wouldn't have the freedom. I wouldn't have the ability to serve and help and have the abundance of resources, because that's a model that doesn't allow one to many. Whereas this model really allows you to free yourself, but also to free others. And I really implore you, if this does inspire you, look into network marketing, go to isogenicsbusiness.com and just learn the skills, learn the tools. And if one day you start using them, just do it and see what happens.
Beautiful. Love it. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Awesome. So we've gone just over time. So I'm just going to wrap it up quickly here. But basically, how to get started, there is a pack that will fit your goals and your budgets. So the healthy living pack and the weight maintenance pack, the premium packs, they're the go-tos. The ultimate pack will give you pretty much a taster of everything. But if that isn't in your budget, there will be a pack that is. So don't let price be a barrier, because when you break it down, it's an instead of cost. You're substituting some of your grocery bills for this, and it's actually a straight swap, and you'll find that you actually save money. So don't let that deter you if that's something that does pop up for you. And Rory touched on the rebate system. Basically, if you help some people get started, Isogenics say, here's some money, because they don't have a marketing budget. They literally don't pay a single cent to advertising at all. So that money gets shifted and redirected to the pockets of people that are actively helping share these products. So, and I always like to wrap up with a quote. So if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes, and then learn how to do it later. So that's basically it in a nutshell for me. I didn't know anything about network marketing, barely knew anything about the products, but it felt like the right next step. I trusted the person who was talking to me about it. So I was like, I'm going to have a crack. There's a money back guarantee. So if it feels like the right next step for you, have a crack and then learn as you go. And then we'll wrap it up there, Ros. I'll get you to stop the recording. And thanks to all the guys that